that kind of day. It's a Sunday. Bayachwaza. They're everywhere. They want to make their presence felt.
We are live now.
Oh, that's wonderful. I will be sharing, when I'm talking, I will try and share my screen for certain, for some of the things that I will be saying. So, yeah.
Okay. Kulo, I'm going to start the recording.
All right, wonderful. Got it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good day, and good evening to everyone listening to us today. Welcome to Ikhambi Natural Healing Session, the session that we have titled The Hidden Power or Hidden Powers. Am I audible? Am I hearable? That's like the right word to say.
You are very audible.
All right. Angihambi ngedwa ngihamba no Nelly Nkosi. Say hi.
Greetings, beloveds. Greetings.
And we got Nita T. Uteri. Her name is very long. She can introduce herself and say hi to everybody too. All the way from Australia. Oh, she is in Australia, but she's not from Australia. Yes. Where are you from, Nita? As you introduce yourself, where are you from?
Hi guys, I am Anita Ndipange. The Tehuti is actually my other names. It's Anita Tatenda Teresa Ndipange. Originally born and raised in South Africa. Came here on work in Australia, Melbourne.
Wow,
and it's always great to be here.
I believe it's evening for you.
Yes, it is. It's 7 o'clock, maybe a few minutes after 7.
Ah, nice.
Yes.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah, so we are here. We are going to be speaking about the great power, one of the most exciting, most famous. English, I always complain that the words that we use in English do not quite hit the spot. They don't quite describe these archetypes or the powers that we are speaking about. Even the images, they don't describe them in the best way. They just only graze the surface. But today we're going to try our best to I don't know if the word is explain. We're going to try and discuss these great powers in great detail so that people can understand why do we keep on harping on about them, and why Egypt? Why do we keep Egypt in our consciousness the way we do? Well, while the rest of our families or the rest of everyone else is busy with Jerusalem, for example, or busy with Mecca, or busy with other things. Why in Ikhambi, why are we mixing our healing conversations? Not mixing, but why do we attribute these great powers to the Kemetic tree of life compared to the rest? So I'll just start there by just laying down that as a foundation. There are very good reasons. Many of them, we have discussed them in many of our sessions, as we have spoken about healing in many different ways. Today, as I was meditating about this session, I thought about the issue of when you speak about the hidden powers, everyone knows, there's this thing, sometimes we imagine how powerful we are or how strong we are. We know our skills. We know our intellectual capacity. I know how good I am in maths or how not good I am in maths. I know my capability to grasp art or to break down certain intellectual concepts, and I know my limitations. I know my limitations, and I know my heights. I know my, basically those kinds of things. So the concepts that we're going to be speaking about today, was known as the concept of intelligence, divine intelligence, the intelligence that helped our great ancestors to create things like writing, mathematics, tools of measurement, tools of architecture, literature, poetry, magic, and even mythologies. So we're going to go a bit more intellectual today. Last two times we were speaking a lot about sexual energy, sensuality, intimacy, and the great powers, the divine forces of ancient Egypt had a way, and our ancestors, the human ones, they had a way to categorize all aspects of human life into pictographs, what they will call hieroglyphs these days. But in the ancient times, they used to call them medu neter, which means divine speech or divine words or divine images even. Medu neter, the word neter meaning the divine power, medu meaning the word, either spoken word or the written word. So yeah, I'm giving you that foundation so that we know that the things we're speaking about are not just imagination. We just chose, and it's not actually even religious. We didn't choose a religion or choose a specific region. We could have been in West Africa. We could be doing this with West African, what do they call them, Orishas, and we will still be seeking to achieve the same thing. We could be, if we were coming from the Christian perspective, we could be speaking about Samson and the power of Samson. Why did Samson choose certain things? 5 stones, for example. What is the image? What does it mean when Samson slays a lion, for example? What does it mean when David gets, the king is jealous of David and throws a spear at him? We could be using that mythology, but we have chosen to choose African mythologies or African stories. Some are mythologies, some are historical, you know. And as we keep going in Ikhambi, we also deal a lot with the Southern African pantheon. I would use the word pantheon of the gods, Amatongo, the great spirits that live in the other parts, in the other realms of reality. They are reality. I don't even want to call them myths. They are realities. Some are people that have lived. Some are spirits that have always existed in the ether. Some have existed in different realms. I personally generally call them Amatongo. And I'm not speaking about Amadlozi specifically, which are our ancestors, which have different powers now themselves. But in a nutshell, all these powers are realized in us. They are either realized or not realized in us. This is all basically up to an individual to gain an understanding and learn the words and the actions that are required so that you can live your ultimate life, the optimum life, optimum health, optimum peace, optimum overstanding, understanding, happiness, joy, which is basically because some people say we have only this one life. So it is very important to actually
Did we lose Brother Menzi? You're on mute, sister. I can't hear. You're on mute.
I'm like, I know I'm mute. You should read lips.
No, I can't. I think we lost Brother Menzi.
Yeah, he's frozen.
So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to notify him via WhatsApp that he's actually on mute. And then we will, I think as we wait for him, I think it would be wise that we do the breathing meditation.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that today.
Yes.
Maybe that's why.
Yes. And just give me a second to be back on. Okay. So, greetings everybody. I am Nelly, Nkosi, co-hosting with Menzi Maseko for today's session. So as we try to get Menzi back, I think it would be wise for us to do the breathing meditation and then we take things from there. Okay, so you can sit comfortably in any position. That if you could be lying down or you could be sitting, it really doesn't matter. As long as you're comfortable where you are, just relax. And then you can close your eyes, you can keep them open. So basically, we are inviting our ancestors and our creator just to remind us that why we're here, so that they guide the conversations that we embark on today. So we're going to take a deep breath in and then release. So we're going to do this 3 times. So we can take the first breath in. You suck in all the good energies, all the knowledge from the Great One, the Great Divine Mother, the Great Divine Father, and the Great Divine and our ancestors. And then you releasing all the toxicity and everything that will hinder us from learning and growing. And then we take another deep breath in. We invite all the good spirits, the spirit of Tehuti, the divine power of Tehuti, to come into the space. And then we release. And then we take another deep breath in. Sucking in all the calming energy, bringing it in, and then we release. Yeah. So Anita, it seems like for now it's just going to be the 2 of us. Because I just want to move my camera because my laptop is here and I'm controlling here and I need to see when people come in. So yes, so this season, as Umkulu has said, we do follow the Kemetic calendar, the Anunian calendar, when we do things. And on the 23rd, the season of Tehuti came into being. So Tehuti, it is said that he brought himself into existence by uttering his name. He is the keeper of knowledge. He is like everything that has to do with wisdom and all that, everything that goes on. But we also know that knowledge doesn't really always all the time come from here. Just to update everybody, Menzi is back. He's still reconnecting. So yeah. So however, the aspect of Tehuti that we wanted to concentrate on for today is the secret power or the hidden power, as Menzi has alluded a bit earlier on. The secret power that we wanted to concentrate on is his concert, Seshat, So Uses, greetings, Unkulu, welcome back.
Nicole is out there for stepping out. It was just technical network issues. Please continue what you were saying and then I'll maybe continue after.
Okay, so I was actually explaining that the aspect of Tehuti that we wanted to speak about, that not really nobody, it's spoken very little about in modern day, in modern times, is Useshat. So Seshat is Tehuti's concert. In the earlier times when she was revered quite a lot, it was said that when she created the writing and Tehuti would teach it. And when Tehuti would do the counting, she would check to see if everything, double check and just see if everything is in order. So it was that kind of partnership where Tehuti, in terms of understanding this concept, you'd have this deity, you'd have to understand Tehuti. They were I wouldn't want to say assistant, but they were they were working together in some way, you know, and very little is written about her in modern times, and very little is spoken about her. But she played a very huge role in terms of contributing towards the civilization as well as the development. She's the keeper of the records. She's the protector of the libraries and you know, and she keeps the records of those of the names of spirits of those who have passed on. And yeah, that is my mini version of Seshat for the new ones. And I know Menzi is gonna go into a bit detailed, but yeah, in a nutshell, that's what she is. She's the keeper of records. She's created writing, and she also created counting, and Tehuti would teach that. Although some of these attributes are now thought to be Tehuti's only, but in the earlier times, they used to be separate like that. Kulu, do you want to add?
Yes. So I guess we have skipped. I don't know if you've done. You just did the meditation and the pledge. We will do it. We can even do that later. We can do the pledge even later. Why not?
No, we did the meditation. We didn't do the pledge.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I have it somewhere there. But people who know us, they know it. So it's there. So we will, I'm not sure. I think we need to send that. So one of the things I need to send to Nita. Do you have the pledge with you? Anyway, no, ever? No, don't have it. Yeah. Okay, but you did receive the book. You did receive the book. Yeah, it took forever to send. Yeah.
It's quite big. I received it and then difficult. I distributed it to people.
That's great. Do you see how long it takes to load? It has to go Google Docs. Yeah. And once you get to me, I had to print it because I was not doing well reading it online. I'm reading it on the computer, on the PC. It was just no. I needed to print it and spend time on it. Yeah, it just gives a basic understanding of the concepts we are speaking about. What can I add in terms of Seshat? First, let's just start here. The reason why we are focusing on the power called Tehuti, the power of Tehuti today. I know some people spell it as Jehuti, but let me just start with the concept of that. Why do I insist on the T? Because I think the T is a T. You know, the Nguni pronunciation of the T. It sounds like a D or a DJ to people who are used to Latin speech, or I don't know what they call it in linguistics, but that kind of Greco-Roman pronunciation or speech or morphology. So they will interchange the word, the T, the hard T of the Bantu speaking people, the T, you know, itiye, utata, you know. So they do not have a letter because they can tell that it's not a D, but it's also not a T the way they usually pronounce T. So they add J to the D. So it says J, which some people say Jehuti, but I think it's just a way to find a way to make the hard T, to spell the hard T. I start with that because in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, when they were developing, our ancestors were developing the art of writing, which they say is an art that came from the gods. I'm speaking Greek now. When I say it came from the gods, it came from the creator, the creative beings that were there before us as human beings. Those who read the Bible, they know that there's nowhere where the creator says, "Let me create the world in my image." It says, "Let us create man in our image." You know, there's a whole lot of history, a lot of YouTube conversations about what does it mean we? Why are we speaking about one God yet we are hearing we? Why are the people speaking in plurals? You know, and then those who study Hebrew, they will say, but it's because there were multiple beings, not just one beings. And those who are Christian will say, no, it means the Trinity. You know, it's God the Father, God the Son, and God. They created the world in their image. And then when you ask people, what is the image then of the Holy Spirit? Then it becomes difficult. It's a spirit, there's no image. But he said us. It's a long story. We'll get into it on some other day. But the point I'm making is that our African ancestors, when they were creating speech, when they were creating the letters and the hieroglyphs, the metuneter, the divine speech that came from the heavens to us, they looked to nature very, very carefully. They used nature. They would say, okay, what are the attributes of a hawk? What does it do? It's sight. It's good sight. It can see things from afar. It has speed, and it has. There are all these various attributes of for example, a hawk. I'm using a hawk as an example. There's many different examples, and they will attribute those things to men. That's why you see figures of deities or natural powers that have animal heads, but they have human bodies, and they carry an ankh or they carry a particular instrument. All those images are painted or drawn to create a particular impression in your mind, and also an impression in your spirit, to understand what does this stand for. For example, Tehuti he's got an image of what we call inkankane. Some people will say utegwane, but I don't think it's utegwane exactly. So this inkankane is an ibis bird. And the ibis, there are various different kinds of ibis birds. So when they were creating this, they said this ibis bird was one of the children of God, right? The creator, who they called Amen or Atum or Ptah at that time. There are certain attributes. This kankane is very quiet. It's very calculating. It's a kind of animal that's very quiet, calculating. It's mostly by the water. It creates a particular kind of nest. It migrates at a particular time. There's something very measured about it. It's something to do with measurement. It only comes if you mark, if you observe it, you'll find that it will land at a particular spot, exactly at that particular spot, at the exact time, every single day. It's not random like many other birds. There's nothing random about the way it does things. So it's mathematical, and it's very accurate in the way it does things. So they attributed it to a particular discipline, which was writing, mathematics, counting, and all those things. And then you'll find there's those many stories. If you go to Egypt, you will find Tehuti is drawn almost on, it's one image that is almost, what is the word? Ubiquitous. It's everywhere. You can find that image of Tehuti everywhere, because it shows that the people of ancient Kemet were busy with civilization building. They were world building, and they were building their world according to natural, how do I say, the template. They were using nature as a template to create a civilization, both the urban civilization, the rural civilization, scientific discipline, scientific schools, scientifically designed temples. When I say scientific, I'm going to end on this part, and then maybe the sisters can talk. When I say they were creating a civilization that was based on nature, on natural principles, when they were building it, when a temple was built, or even a household, an ordinary house was built, because sometimes we focus too much on palaces and temples. I know they are important, but even if they build a house, they will make sure that because they know the seasons, they know according to what season falls at a particular time, how does the wind blow, so they will know how to build a house in a particular way to face a particular direction, and if you are born at a particular time, I read this recently, the ancient Egyptians, if you are born at a particular time, you will build your house and put your msamu at a particular direction. Not everybody is the same. There was no singular way of how, in our country, we do things like this. Everything went according to your astrological chart. Everything happened according to what season it was, what birds were migrating at that time. Was the Nile flooded, or was it receding? Because almost everything depended on the river. What planet was on the rise at that time? What was the position of the sun? So individual lives, community lives, national life was all ordered according to the natural phenomena. And Tehuti was one of those divine attributes or the divine beings that ensured, the priests did this, they planned this, and they placed Tehuti as the one aspect of the myriad of so-called gods, many. That was the one aspect that made sure that everything is done in good measure. But then, lastly, Tehuti did not work alone. There was always a counterpart. Tehuti is depicted as a male divine power. But then he had someone who actually even preceded him, and that one was the home builder. It was the woman. It was the woman by the name of Seshat. Maybe Coco can speak about why Seshat has the particular symbol. Many people have argued a lot about it. They say it's a ganja leaf. Some say no, it's a cicada, or some say it's a what's this thing? Palm. It's a palm frond. You know, a lot of people, if you go on YouTube, they say, it's cannabis. It's a cannabis leaf. It's part of her crown. It's a symbol because she represents wisdom. She represents enlightenment. She represents all these. You know, people will make whatever I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm just saying, you know, sometimes you can draw on straws. But what is it exactly? I think we can find out during this conversation. So Tehuti did his measurement, did his writing, inventing writing and inventing. But another temple would focus on the consort, the partner of Tehuti, who is Seshat, a woman, who wears the leopard skin, which is representative of kings, but it's also representative of high priesthood. So she's the high priest, and he is the high priest. The high priest is represented as the leopard wearing lady with a human face, but the high priest is represented as a human being in body, but the head is an ibis. There's a whole lot of magic and wonder all in that. But I just needed to give that kind of broad background so that we can speak up. When we speak about the herbs, speak about the healing, speak about the maths, speak about the history. We have a background that we know about these attributes.
Thank you, Mkulo, for that explanation. Very beautiful. It provides a bit of context in terms of the conversations that we're going to have today. I did see a lot of arguments on YouTube whether or not the plant that is on Seshat's head is cannabis or it's something else. Some have even gone as far as calling her the queen of cannabis. But yeah. Yes, cool.
They do that. Some businesses are established. They use her as a logo. Yeah, I saw a cannabis business with Seshat logo. I'm sure it's a European person somewhere in Cape Town. They have a logo of Seshat, and they use it for their cannabis business.
You know, as I was busy doing my own research into doing this, I think there's a channel, Is It Really Magic? You know, it's called that on YouTube, Is It Really Magic? How she explains how people perceive things differently is quite interesting, and I think it's quite beautiful as well at the same time, because she said symbols are a bit of a tricky thing, you know, because first you'll have your own personal interpretation because of your own experiences and what you're currently going through, and you want to relate it to, like you want to assimilate it into your own life and make it relevant for you. And therefore, what you see, therefore, what the mind believes, you know. So if you're seeing a cannabis, probably it is, you know, based on personal experience. So she said, there is no interpretation where we can say it's wrong because whoever created it, we can't exactly go back and ask them. So therefore, how you see it is the way it is. And then she said there's the personal interpretation as well as there's the communal interpretation as well as there's like a nationwide, like a broader interpretation. So for me, and I think that people should just interpret it the way it is relevant for them and how it is assimilated to them. Just to bring in terms of the whole background that you've just taught, I think for me, it's important that all these teachings, we bring them back into our own life and make it relevant for us. You know, when we look at the relationship with Tehuti and the Shad, you know, does it not really remind us that the whole mentor-mentee relationship, although this wasn't really a mentor-mentee relationship, but also we need to think of it as that whole relationship of the friends that you keep. You know, the old saying that birds of the same feather flock together, and whenever
the company you keep.
Yes. And remember that old one where I think we had a discussion about this sometime last year, that whenever 4 people are gathered, or two, 3 or 4 people, it doesn't really matter. If, let's say, there's 2 people gathered in a room, a third mind is created by these beings being in the same space. If there's 4 people, then the 5th brain is created. I know that they have like the scientific term for it, which I don't remember right now.
Yes.
I'm not even going to do that to myself. But as long as I remember the theory behind, it's quite good. So I kind of had to, at this point in time, more particularly in December, and we all know what happens in December. Like the company you keep, guys, you're about to enter into the Gregorian New Year, or we've just entered into our own New Year in terms of, it kind of makes me think, should we not be reflecting in terms of the company that we keep? Are they for us, for our own progression, when we speak about secret power? Or are they, I call them handbrakes. I'll tell you, let me just quickly explain why I call them handbrakes. Some people, they don't need to do anything in your life. Literally, by just entering your space, everything comes to a standstill. Like this would be, you would swear somebody just pulled the handbrake on you, and it's the energy that they bring. And some of them, it could be because of their own whatever issues that they're currently going through, and unresolved traumas, and some of them could be doing something quite sinister. But immediately when they enter into your life, handbrake, everything stops. So I kind of
or the opposite.
Yes, some actually accelerate your growth, like in how we've just seen that how the relationship between Tehuti and Seshad, it actually worked best because it accelerated the growth in terms of the work that they were doing. So it kind of made me, like, when we think about secret power, like the people that we have around us, are they really empowering us, or are they disempowering us?
Yeah, so I'd like to say something, and then maybe we can ask Nita to give us her reflections. There is exactly on what you are speaking about. We must ask ourselves whether the company we keep, and by company, I'd like to add not just human company, I'd like to add even the thoughts that we keep, the kind of things that we watch, the kind of, by company, I'm looking at company also as a form of energy, the energy we keep around us. Does it enhance our hidden powers? Because we're speaking about the hidden powers. Not everything, I mean, everybody knows that maybe Menzi does this, maybe he does marketing, or he does translation, or he does this on the physical level. This is his job. These are the things that he does. Does Ikhambi, does this. That's the visible power, or the visible talents, or the visible things that you do, even some skills that you do. But they are hidden ones. And they are here to make the world either a better place or a worse place than before you were here. You are here to actually give to the world, like we say in our pledge, that we will give back to nature what she has abundantly given us. So we are here to give back, right? Not just to take. I mean, we already take too much. We take we're taking oxygen, sometimes we kind of feel entitled. Oh, we are alive, so we must take food, we must take this, must take, love. It's owed to us. All these things are owed to us. But is the company we keep enhancing the growth of our hidden powers? Is it, because there are those latent things that they are there. You can achieve this level, but you just keep cruising on this mediocre, average level. You're just cruising here. Maybe you should start thinking, talking to myself and everyone else, we should start thinking of what kind of company should I keep in order to elevate myself to that level where my hidden powers can be enhanced. And what kind of thoughts? Yeah, what kind of things do I need to tap into? What kind of books do I need to read? What kind of exercises do I have to do? What kind of habits do I have to establish in order for me to take those hidden powers into the open so that they can enrich the world and enrich myself and my family and my community at the same time?
Anita, do you want to share your thoughts in terms of your analogy of Seshad's relationship and Tehuti?
I'm learning this for the first time.
Or just the subject?
Yeah. I guess I'll just
listen, you can continue.
I'll lean on the company we keep. I'm still learning.
Yes.
I like that you're saying that we have to start with our thoughts first, the company we keep. And the biggest enemy a human has is their thoughts.
Yes.
Because you can literally be alone, but you'll be the one who's the handbrake. You're literally the one who doesn't grow themselves because of your thoughts, your thought process, the way you think. I think a couple of days ago, I did a video about that on my Instagram about, just be careful of your thoughts. What you think and what you say comes to existence. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's one of those things. With me, one thing I've realized, or maybe I think as you guys were speaking, it kind of hit home for me, because for the past 3 or 4 years, when it comes to this season, towards the end of November, going into December, I shut down. And when I say I shut down, I do not talk to people on social media. I do not, and it's been going on for years, and I've never understood it. And I literally go onto this fast that gets me into January. And then when people ask me, why am I not talking to them? I say, because a part of me needs peace, and a part of me needs healing. Broken part of me needs healing. And even if I had a problem with somebody, I say to them, this is where I'm letting it all go and where it stops. And then I start just going on this journey. For the past 4 years, it's been like that. And when I heard you speak, I was like, I guess this season has always been a measured season for me. I literally know who I'm going forward with in my life, but mostly I have to take care of myself to get into, as much as we say, this is our new year, but well, the one that we all know, in January, I literally just get into it. But after that, I just shut down, and I'm starting to actually feel that as I'm getting closer to the end of this month, that it's time for me. It's like I get into a shell, and then I limit the people I talk to. I even limit my own thoughts. I'm more kinder to myself. I don't want people that bring, even my parents know that I'm like, I don't want to hear.
Not today, not this season. Meet me next month, 2 months from now.
So I literally take a lot of measured processes or logical processes towards this time of the year for me personally.
Would you say that it does it help you in any way? Does it enhance your life? Does it just make you happier?
For me, it has made me grow wiser, if I should put it that way. I listen more and talk less. I pay attention more. And I think it just gives me this understanding or this piece of who I am. And spiritually, it does make me a bit stronger, more resilient, if I can put it that way. There's a change in who I become every time I go through this journey, or every time the season comes at this point in my life. By the time I get into January, I feel like I'm a different person. Every time I say to people, it's like I go through a rebirth of understanding, of paying attention, of healing. Because for me, it's like these are the moments where I try to befriend my shadow self. Let me put it that way. The little traumas, this, that. This is the time where I literally do that. So it does.
May I ask what season? May I ask what season is it over there in Australia?
It's as in summer. It's summer.
Oh, it's summer.
We're in the hemisphere.
Oh, Southern Hemisphere. All of us are in summer, obviously, but it's a different hour. It's a different time. For us, it's morning. For you, it's evening.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know. I'm as you are it.
You know, it's very interesting that you would say that that sometimes we are our own handbrakes, you know, because I'm just thinking right now that for you to receive the type of energy that you would receive, let's say for instance, if you want friends who would be like shut, you know, friends who would empower you to reach your elevated self, are you that friend when, you know? Are you being that friend to your friends or the people that are around you? And are you being that person towards yourself? You know, I like it when you refer to yourself, because at the end of the day, we need to start with self. When I began this year, my therapist said that I needed to start being selfish.
Good choice.
She said I needed to become more selfish, in a sense that you can't give like pour from, like give to others when your own cup is empty, you know? And for me, that was like, okay, are you the Seshat in your life, you know, towards yourself and towards others, you know? Are you that friend who'd say, I know it's a bit extreme when you say, Menzi, Ankai meet. You know? You saw that face, Ankai meet, and my friend would be like, sure, I meet, you know? Or are you that friend who'd say, when Menzi comes to you and say, give me, like, can I have, like, I'll give you back I need to start a business, and you said, and then you give a friend that? Or are you that friend who actually, when Menzi says, I've just written a book, I've published it, do you mind just going through the book or whatnot? They want a free copy. Or instead of saying to you that, Menzi, you know what, here, this is how you can improve. Doing what Useshat used to do for Tehuti, double checking the calculations for him to check if it's actually accurate, and saying, but you know what, I feel like here you sold yourself a bit short when you did this book. You could have done ABC and ABC and ABC, you know, and like constructive criticism, where else some other people they would have opted for, you know what, instead of telling you, they'd be like, no, this one thinks he's clever, you know, and talking about you to other people, as opposed to them growing you as a person. Or even the criticism, there's constructive criticism. Kana was the other one, Nkulu, the one that really doesn't serve any purpose, like it's just there to break you down as a human being. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I said destructive criticism. I don't know. I can't remember.
I also can't remember.
And I was asking if Nita knows what you. But anyway, it's either constructive or destructive. You know, PhD syndrome they call it. Pull him down or pull her down. A lot of people are graduates. They've mastered that art of pulling. So this is why sometimes when I speak, it's almost as if I'm all over the place, because I'm actually trying to give a macrocosmic view of the things we speak about, you know, almost like those people who do horoscopes, who, I mean, it's a star chart. Not everybody is born at the same time, but 5,000 people all over the world are saying, but this guy is talking about me right now. how can they be speaking about you right now when 10,000 people bought the magazine? You happen to be a Gemini and you are reading your Gemini star sign at that particular time. And it's saying the same thing to 5,000 people. Does that mean that the whole thing is a lie, or the whole thing is using just archetypes? It's just generalization, or what's the word? It's generic kind of advice. Or the other option is it's all a matter of what's the word? I'm looking for the right words. Everything is measured according to the natural clock. And by natural clock, I'm refraining from using the word cosmic clock. People speak about their rising. I was born on a Monday, on this thing, on that day, on that day. And these are the attributes of an Aries, which I am. And these are this. But there are probably 1 billion people with the exact same thing that you're talking about. They were born on the same moment as you, maybe same day. The moon was the same, it was the same eclipse, it was the same thing, you're in the same hemisphere. So the point I'm raising is there are these general attributes to life and nature, but I like to bring it back to Africa on purpose by saying that when we're speaking about the kind of civilization that Egypt was, it was based on these principles that our ancestors put, they archived them so perfectly that, I'm going to be, maybe, it might sound rude to someone who may believe in something else. I've been studying a lot about the issue of the Jews. I've done that for many years, probably more than 10 years, because we are born into Christian families. So I always try to look deep beneath the surface, beneath the words, read between the lines. Other people are living comfortably with this faith, and it's fine. And I love that. My parents too. But I was always uncomfortable with it because I always wanted something that looks like me. I always wanted not even something that looks like me. I've always sought for a belief system or a system of knowing, or even a science of doing things that reflects the environment and even the race. Even the race is a stupid term, but just reflects my people, the African people, And then it seems to me that Egypt, even though the high civilization of Egypt may have diminished 2,000 years ago, or even 3,000 years ago before Christ, but there was tens of thousands of years before that where it existed harmoniously. And it was based on these principles. Now, sometimes I tell myself, okay, now it's time for the West. It's time for the Gregorian calendar. It's not time for the Dendera calendar now. It's not time for Tehuti now. It's time for the Aries, the way we know them. It's time for the star sign. It's time for the horoscope. But then the deeper you dig into those very same things, you find that even Nazo, they are based on that very same ancient African ways of knowing. So by that, I'm saying that for us to study nature the same way that our ancestors studied it, it's almost the same way as ukupahla, the same study. Even if I'm studying a book, it's the same as ukupahla. When pasha, I'm not just asking, I'm having a communication one-on-one with maybe 5 or 10, or one of my ancestors. And I'm asking for a way to carry out a particular procedure, a particular part of my day, or solve a particular problem, or deal with a particular aspect of things. But these ancestors were dealing with not just issues of Egypt, they were dealing with civilization building. They influenced South American civilizations. They influenced ancient Indian civilizations. They not only traveled there, but the knowledge that they possessed traveled there. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm only saying that, and it still exists. And the thing that I thought would be a big problem to people of Abrahamic faith was the fact that each time I try to study ancient Jews, the ancient Hebrews, you find that they can't talk without mentioning Egypt. They cannot prove their own existence without without measuring themselves according to a civilization that was greater than them. You see, the civilization it's more than that. They may have books. We have things written on walls, and they're not only written on walls. Almost every Western civilization has a thing that they've stolen from Egypt, either a big wall, or an obelisk, or statues, or thousands and thousands of papyrus, which they sell for millions of dollars and rands. Why do they have these things? They have all these things so that they can keep trying to recreate the golden age, the golden civilization that ancient Africans had. But ancient Africans seem to be, what's the word? Oblivious to it. There are people who are studying it, but I'm saying this phahla that we are doing is a phahla thing that should be done by a lot of Africans so that we can rise together. So that I don't want to know what I know by myself. I want thousands and hundreds of thousands, billions of other people, Africans, and then everybody else, every human being to know it, so that we can live in harmony with nature. It's not even about the gods or whatever, the knowledge itself. It's about how do you have this science so that you can live in harmony with nature, solve simple issues of disease, solve issues of building in harmony with the universe so that you have a good carbon footprint. Things that people are worried about now, our ancestors were doing them only through observing nature. And the template is here now, so we can do it, you know. They were making great love, you know, they were making great clothes, they were building great architecture. It has lasted for tens of thousands of years, not 7,000 years like some books. You know, 7,000 years. I mean, Adam is 7,000 years old. Adam, the first man, 7,000. But science tells us about millions of years. You know, Egypt used to tell us, before scientists spoke about evolution of thousands of years, of millions of years, Egypt was saying that may the god, meaning the king, may the king live for millions of years. We were speaking about these things, evolution and scientific, all these sciences many years ago. God.
Thank you. I'm still here. Sorry. So as you were actually speaking, the thought came into my mind that the divine energy that's currently in existence, that we say exists, not currently in existence, but we say exists. As you were talking, you referred to a lot of a lot of deities and a lot of and a lot of like things that happen in the world that are similar, you know, and some of them we refer that they were taken from ancient Egypt. And for me, it also like a second thought came to my mind actually as you were speaking, that as opposed to saying like, would it be possible if we say that the divine energy that we say existed, because when we look at Hindu, which is somewhere else, the other side of the world, you know, when they speak of the god of knowledge, they speak of Saraswati, the divine Saraswati, you know, and I made notes about this. So Saraswati, she is responsible for art, speech, wisdom, and learning, you know. And for me, it was kind of like, aha moment. Are we not influenced based on like the same energy influences us, but in different areas? And we refer to it referred to it differently, because up there in the north, they refer to that energy as Tehuti, Seshat, you know, and
Mercury.
Down here,
Mercury.
And when we bring it down here I will refer to the Nguni culture because that's the knowledge in which I was raised in. They refer to umuntu ngomuntu ngabantu, you know, and we are therefore, you are because we are, you know, you are because we are. And those are the things that actually resonated in my mind when you actually speaking, that the energy, because you might cancel things and you end up canceling yourself in the process, because, hey, you guys may be talking about the same thing, but you're talking about it, you've named it differently,
Yes,
and
yes.
just because it looks a bit different from yours, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's different from what you're talking about.
Yes. It's like the archetype. They talk about archetypes in psychology. It's the same thing. Everyone, human beings, that's why I said even the concept of race is very flawed. There is race. I mean, and I have to say this, especially for people who are into Egyptochematology and all that. I find that they spend too much time arguing about the race of the Egyptians. It's not really about the race of the Egyptians. It's very clear that they were Africans. The Egypt is in Africa. That's the first thing. You shouldn't, why argue, spend many years arguing with people about, but then, okay, I understand that there is a lot of, deception that goes on in the realms of the mainstream media, right? In the mainstream media, they will paint you a picture that is not accurate. I watched the movie Gods of Egypt the other year. All the gods of Egypt were white. And you ask yourself, how did a person who looks like they're from Finland or Germany end up representing a pharaoh, from a Nubian civilization or from an African civilization? How did that happen? So there is an aspect whereby, yes, we must counteract the lie, but don't spend your time busy counteracting the lie. It's like my friends who I always say, can we stop complaining about Christianity or every other Abrahamic religion or any other religion? Because at the end of the day, some of our scholars, our elders, have done that job. They've done the work. They've got thousands of books dealing with the fact that, yes, all these things came from Africa. Some, even these days, people will speak about, but Israel also is part of Africa. Who said Africa must end at a particular border? And what is even Africa? It's an invention by people who saw a particular land. There's all these inventions and layers and layers and layers, but they obscure the fact that there is a hidden power within each and every human being all over the world. And as Nkosi is saying, we end up canceling each other. I'll make one quick example. That we watch with our children, we watch superheroes. And the things that you learn from watching these superheroes, you can tell, it's okay, this, what's it called? Thor, for example, amongst the Avengers. Thor is exactly the Nigerian god Ogun. Exactly. It's an Ogun mixed with Shango. Before the person who wrote the storyline of Thor was born, Ogun was being spoken about, was worshipped in West Africa. And it traveled all over the world through, people travel all over the world, in Brazil, they worship Shango, King Shango. King Shango is just like, there's one American one now, forgot what it's called, not Shazam, but all these superheroes. But what you learn in the superheroes, it's not just about their power, their strength, it's about what do they use their strength for? What do they use their power for? Is it for kindness? Is it to save other people? Is to be kind to the weak and all? So it's a good thing. It's reaching our children via a different, a different medium, so to speak. But it's important to establish the foundation. Our children, as much as they are watching the cartoons made in Europe or made in America, they must know the foundation. The T'Challa, who is the Black Panther, is based on a particular culture in Benin. There may be a whole lot of fantasy wrapped around it, but it's based on a particular culture of people somewhere in Cameroon and Benin and all that, right? So those hidden powers must not be hidden, like the movie says, hidden colors. We must let the colors flourish. The more hidden they are, then the people won't get to know about themselves,
I wanted to add on what Sis Nelly said, actually, when she spoke about how we all one thing regardless of race and culture and whatever. And by you saying that I realized that from a friend of mine. He's from India. And when I started my spiritual journey, I wanted to understand how they did things, I wanted to understand what is the difference between being African and being Indian, and how you worship your gods and how we worship our gods. But the more we spoke, I sat down and I realized we are the same people. We're only being told that I'm Black and you Indian because of what society says. Because even the in Dambo Abbas Fasayo on their hands, it's protection. Right?
Yes.
So what is different? Because not is name Dambo. And even Mabatandas, Exene Ebusuku, Umuntu Zenzan, Uzo lighter impepo yake incense, Mabaceta on their little. Yes. And then they actually take their time to actually pray. The only thing I then realized was maybe the one difference that they have is that Bona, they first have to wash their hands, their feet, their faces before they actually go. That's when I sat down and asked myself, so why don't we do it? And then a part of me said, but Tina sifasitu, every other sense of respect, regardless of how it's done, we all come there representing ourselves the same way, as clean as we can be, as representable as we can be. So I wanted to touch on that as much as we all want to seem as if we are different, we all doing the same thing. The gods still remain the same gods. But it goes back to what Nelly said, it's how you interpret it. Yeah. If Abanyabati, she's the queen of cannabis, then she's the queen of cannabis. But she could be the queen of the palm, then she's the queen for the palm. But it's how we all want to see this whole world. I think if we all sat down and in one room, regardless of where we're from, and had a conversation, would realize that we're speaking about the same thing, the same experiences, the same power. Because it doesn't mean if Umuntu, who is African, goes through a trance, and Umuntu, who is Indian, goes through a trance, it's different. It's not different. It's the same thing. It's the same power. You are all trying to connect with nature, because nature is our ruler, isn't it? We all sit there, we eat there, we do everything in nature. Therefore, that means every experience is the same experience. So I also wanted to just touch on that. And I only started realizing that when I got my whole awakening, that for the longest of time, I used to think people were different. I just thought, because of you this, you that. But the more I explore other people, like Gufana Njengama Alba regions here, when they have the smoke ceremony, by Bashisa, I don't know exactly the herb they burn. Then afterwards they chant and chant and chant and chant, and they dance and they dance. And you can see these people are being elevated emoyeni. But what is different from us, Masigita? There's no difference. We might not be singing the same thing. Marana Bobayans are barefooted, chanting throughout the night, chanting. And to know we were connecting, our gods were here today, our ancestors were here, they were present, and we wanted to acknowledge them. So every piece, especially when it's the time for smoke ceremony everywhere or in Australia, half the time they have them everywhere. They invite other people. The same way you just don't have a meal by yourself. You invite a lot of people. So they do the same thing. Come and let's celebrate life, nature, and what it gives and brings. So we just the same Americans. People.
We literally do the same thing. They do the same thing. And the Mexicans, the native Mexicans, they also do the same thing. But I will even add the indigenous so-called white people, the Europeans, the ones that are indigenous, that still hold on to the origins of their faith. They do the same thing. Chant in a particular season, either it's a moon rising or it's a particular season. They would go to other Stonehenge, like we go to Nzalo Elang. They go to Stonehenge. Some go to wherever, some go to Facet in Northern Ireland. They have all these things. And it's also sometimes why I worry when people say they, us and them, this thing of us and them, it becomes a problem. It's layers and layers and layers of oppression that now we are busy holding on to oppressions, and us holding on to all these delusions. It robs us of our humanity. It robs us of the exchange, the beautiful partnership that Seshat and Tehuti have of being able to help each other out in the creation of a new civilization. This is why I like in science fiction, the concept of world building. In world building, you find when you read a scientific novel, a very good science fiction novel, especially the fantasy ones, you'll find that there are many different races existing usually in one city, you know, and they will speak about the many different realms and blah, 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 blah. There are gods there, and there's the main one, the primary one, maybe the sky father or the sky mother or whatever. And they're always sometimes hidden, just like in real life. They're always hidden, you know, no one goes there. But there are different layers, hierarchies and hierarchies and hierarchies, right? But what makes it so much like real life is the fact that the writer of the science fiction story or the fantasy story is trying to show you, Uguti, all these different races from different planets can live together. There is an order, that there is a universal law that all can adhere by. If someone murders, there is a punishment. Even if you're coming from a different planet, you cannot take another's life and then nothing happens. You know, something must happen. You cannot take someone's property. You cannot, something will happen. There's karma, there's all kinds of laws, you know. So that is important to recognize that the oneness. Nkosi, when we close, I'd like us to read something about Tehuti, just the attributes of Tehuti.
Oh yes, I was going to also ask that on what do we expect in this season for us newbies. What does this mean for us? You know,
yes.
Spiritually, humanly.
You know, as you and Nita were talking, I was actually there's something that actually kept on repeating in my mind, you know, and I had these words kept on saying that, is the hidden power then based on everything that you've just shared, the knowledge, you know, knowledge in this, like in its broadest term, like the knowledge based on the information that you have, and knowledge based on knowledge and wisdom rather, you know, not just knowledge in isolation, because sometimes we confuse knowledge with wisdom, but then those are two separate aspects. One of them requires you to have the ability to discern, and the other one just requires you to just absorb information. So when as you were speaking, something came to me, and it said knowledge is almost like the key. Having empathy as well, in saying that yes, Menzi is different from me, and for me to actually enhance how I engage with Umenzi, would it not then be beneficial for me to have a bit of empathy and see things from their world?
Empathy.
Yes, empathy, to be able to see things from their worldview, even if I don't want to adopt whatever philosophy or whatever it is that they abide by, but understand things from their worldview and see it for what it is, and discern upon that. And because as Nita said, it that some of the features that actually are there in the different cultures, they're not so different from ours. In my time when I was staying in the Middle East, so Fridays were like Sundays. For lack of a better word, Fridays were like Sundays, in a sense that the whole day, this is a day that is actually, in a nutshell, it's a day reserved for communal praying. So you pray in isolation on your own on a regular basis. However, Friday it's communal praying, in that there's places of prayer in the morning. This is how deep it is, and I think we can take a leaf from that as a people who are trying to regain our knowledge system and revive our knowledge systems, is that we can't just say, no, I'm working on myself. Can we work together towards rebuilding what has been broken down? So in the Middle East, there's prayer places in malls, you know, there's prayer places inside shops, you know, there's a prayer place in a hotel. Everywhere you go, there's a prayer place, you know, and as she said, then there's also time for you to go, because I wasn't staying far from Mecca. There's also a time where everybody goes, where most people go to Mecca, and they go there to rejuvenate who they within themselves. And for me, I found very, very profound. And what I also found very profound, and I could also relate it to what myself, was the fact that before anything starts, incense is also lit there, just like the same as the Aboriginal people that Nita just spoke about in Australia. And I was like, they start off with that. I've been a person who also follows a lot of I've been trying to understand Hinduism, as well. And in me trying to understand Hinduism, there's a few things, maybe not all of them, there's a few things that I've actually identified that actually feature in some of my own culture. Like, you can't just decide, are you mad? Are you mad? Even the essential oils, as they prepare them, the specific people that actually are tasked for that because of the way that they live their lives. Like, for instance, essential oils, most of them are prepared by elderly women, because it's like there's less most of them have stopped going through their monthly cycles, and some of them have even stopped engaging in sexual intercourse. Not that it's dirty or anything like that, but understanding that those things carry a lot of energies, and the energy, when you touch medicine, the energy that you carry transfers onto Lowo Mutuloyo, which is how we have certain issues now when we speak about the whole Faraday thing, because you don't know if and you don't know how was it harvested. Was it harvested ethically? Yes. Was it harvested ethically? Did you request permission to harvest that particular plant, or did you even harvest it during the correct time within nature? Hence I said that I think the hidden power within ourselves is the knowledge and the ability to discern, which is why I say knowledge, wisdom, and empathy. I think we can add a few more qualities to that, and understanding the energies that we keep around us, yeah. That is my...
Yes, this is true. You are touching on the right things, because Valerian Tehuti is the god of intellect, knowledge, and wisdom. That's what he's spoken about. I mean, that's how he is spoken about. We all know, I'm always trying to avoid the word gods, because it carries a lot of I would say Eurocentric handicaps. I use the word handicaps because they immediately when you say gods, people just see you bowing down to something or worshiping it, and the African way was not about that at all. It's a lifestyle. It's developing a particular culture, a mindset, a way of knowing, not only knowing, but a way of being. Let me just read a bit before we go towards our closing, before we close. What the book, The Sacred Magic, says about Tehuti, who is spelled Tehuti here. As recorder of the Akashic record, some people know what the Akashic record is, but if you don't know, I would ask our listeners to Google it. Google is your friend, or basically search it. You don't have to use Google. You can search for it on a search engine, what the Akashic record is. Very important, something to know. As recorder of the Akashic record, Tehuti is the source of all knowledge pertaining to the past and the present. He brings dignity to learning and assists in tests of skill. This neter, or divine power, or natural power, this neter is also prosecuting attorney in the law court of the gods, the counselor and judge on behalf of Heru's petition when Set made false claims on the throne of Egypt. As such, he allows just claims to be made and false accusations to become null and void. Now, and his principle is resonance. The energy dynamic of Tehuti breaks through mental barriers. It allows facts to become known and secrets to be revealed. His powers are concerned with cosmic memory and access to ancient wisdom. And his function is communication, like we were speaking the function of Mercury. If you read it from the horoscope, the tropical horoscope, Tehuti would fall under Gemini. And everybody knows Gemini attributes are communication, intellect, creativity. Tehuti assists in the delivery of messages and information and the discovery of lost knowledge. He is one of the patrons of divinatory activities, Ukpasha and Nokshola. But he communicates more directly with the mind rather than through oracular tools, such as magic mirrors and geometric figures. He may be, let's read here, he may be called upon when learning new skills and languages, especially symbol systems, as he is patron of scholars and scribes. He eases mental confusion and will come to the aid of the person who diagnoses or repairs equipment, tools, or machinery. So it's quite important with regards to technology. If you work in IT and all that, it's important to work with the Tehuti, or you work in language teaching and things like that, or in coding. Tehuti is important also in the coding. Mama, please catch that boy, he's running away with something. Lastly, associated deities is Nkosi. Nkosi is the moon, is the moon god, the lunar deity of transitory phenomena. Shu, the netter of cosmic space and wind, and Seshat, the measurer and architect, and Teki, Tekhi, regulator of times and seasons. And the animals attributed to Tehuti are the ibis, Inkankane, the baboon, and the giraffe. Maybe Nkosi can speak about what to concentrate on this season before we close.
From my side, in terms of the herbs, so we're going to touch on herbs a bit later on during the season. I was actually thinking about, a part of me wanted to do herbs that will help alleviate headaches. Because but then there's another part that says, can we
No, don't worry, sorry.
Okay, so another part of me was saying, well, actually, can we not do herbs that allow you to be able to learn, and gain knowledge, and not just learn per se, but make you have that calming effect, in a sense that they help align like your mind, those herbs that you would usually take just before your exams, and they help you get to a state where you're able to discern a bit better.
Concentrate.
Yes, yeah.
You should take Beroka. I'm joking. Things like that.
No,
Stimulant.
no. We've got the Mother Earth and Father Earth were very, very kind to us to be able to give us herbs that will help us be able to discern. One of them we've spoken about a bit earlier on, Valerian. I think Mkundu's explanation in terms of what Valerian does, it's quite a very potent herb. And funny enough, it's readily available at shops, where else it's quite, I think in my mind, it's way stronger than cannabis in terms of, but at the same time, you're not eating in a shop. Funny, that is the most thing, and you don't even need a prescription for that. But yeah, I guess how we view things is quite different. But I wanted us to actually talk about those, and also touch on physical or spiritual aspects that actually stop us from tapping into that secret power. This would be healing old wounds, past traumas. What besides that, exercises or therapeutic remedies that not necessarily look into herbs or looking at herbs only, but what we can do in what we can incorporate in our daily lives that will help us tap into that inner knowledge, or be able to learn, have wisdom and discern and have empathy. And we speak of the whole different IQs and EQs and the whatnot. Yeah.
Another thing that works for memory and if you're about to write, so memory and just have not so much energy, but you'll be okay throughout the whole day, is red seaweed. So when you make sea moss, so red seaweed, when you boil it, it makes that gel, and then you drink it with tea. That works magic, and it will push you throughout the day, whether it's at work or it's at school. I give it to my son. When I give it to my son, he's like, Mom, I think I just got a bit smarter. And I'm like, you think you got a bit smarter? But he's concentrating more, he's paying more attention. So red seaweed is also, I think also tapping into water herbs also makes a big difference. Instead of just...
That's a great heads up. I'm gonna look for it for my children too, especially one of them. He needs more concentration.
It's very good. And you can make your own. You don't have to buy it when it's already done. So you can buy the dried red seaweed, you boil it, then you extract the gel, and then you just put it in a bottle and you consume it anyhow in food or even in tea or milk. It dissolves nicely.
I would say even, what do they call it? What's that green thing? Moringa. Moringa would be one of those herbs too. Moringa is very good for the memory. It's good for so many things. But depending on how you're taking it, it's got vitamin C, it's got a whole lot of vitamins, but I think it's also, it helps with the memory and things like that. But according to the book, the scent, there's two scents. There is eucalyptus as an incense, but on the body, if you want to use, keep mindful of Tehuti, is Neroli. And I've been trying to find Neroli in this city where I live in. It's very difficult. So it's easy in Durban to find Neroli oil, but finding Neroli this side is very difficult. You know Neroli. Neroli is a little bit like lemongrass, but it's less lemony. It's called Neroli. You can just Google it. And the incense to use is eucalyptus, which I found, and I use eucalyptus a lot. Generally, if I'm going to be writing or going to be dealing with something to do with concentration, I use eucalyptus. It kind of gives that relaxing thing. And the tree, I don't know what you use the tree for, is pomegranate. Pomegranate, I think that's how they say it. Pomegranate. Pomegranate is that red. And by the way, they say it's good for the brain because it actually looks like the brain. Cut pomegranate in half, it looks exactly like the brain. It's just that it's got red.
Can I how you still that when you mentioned the pomegranate? Even if you I don't know if you guys understand the tarot cards, but they also, the symbol of it also is knowledge. If you have read the tarot cards, the pomegranate in success. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, well, so there you have it. The tree is called pomegranate, but in ancient Egypt, they used to call it Halananda. No, Inhemen. And Halananda, I think, is the Indian name, Halananda. But in ancient Kemet, they call it Inhemen. So those are the things. That's Tehuti. I'm sure through the month, we're gonna unpack more. There's so much, you cannot finish Tehuti. As I said already in the introduction, when I was laying down the context, Tehuti, almost every part of the ancient hieroglyphics on the walls of ancient Egypt, even in Sudan, the Sudan pyramids, you will find Tehuti there, represented either as the ibis or as a baboon, represented as a baboon holding a book or holding a papyrus. You know, we didn't even go in on why a baboon. You know, there's so much we can go in, because some people talk about tagat. Say, hey, baboon is just a symbol of tagat, nothing else. But God, I'm sure he created the baboon for more reasons than that. When he made the baboon, you know, or the giraffe. I haven't got deeply why Tehuti is compared to the giraffe, but I'm gonna go into it. We'll find, maybe it's something to do about fast sight also. I don't know.
But when I was doing my research in terms of why the baboon and in terms of the behavioral practices of the baboon, It's because the baboon of its tendencies of going on upper ground, because that's where you are able to receive receive more inside upper ground. You know how when it's not by mistake, where initiation processes take place up in the mountain. It's not by mistake. And I would would it not be said that it's the giraffe because of its
long neck?
Yes.
Yeah. Reach. It's all about reach. Reaching.
Yes.
Reaching there. Yeah. No, but that's cool. That's cool. We give thanks. It's 2 minutes to past. I think we've done enough for Tehuti today. If there's any questions, people can share them. I think the video, if it's on Facebook now, people can still share their comments and their questions there, and we will speak to them there. I want to repeat just the one thing now before you also have your closing comment. Uguti, I keep repeating the issue of civilization building. I was using science fiction and comics and all those things because I'm trying to explain, Uguti, worlds are built by words, through words. You know, either it's the law, it's the laws that are kept, or whether it is the measurements, or it's the codes, or it is the various statements and linguistic tools that are made. Worlds are not just built by shovels and mortar and bricks. They are also built through words, you know. But words are nothing unless they are, how can I say, measured properly and used properly. Otherwise, they're just words. There's many words, just empty words, just going around, you know. But if words are used accordingly and in harmony with the laws of nature and the law of our creators, then we can actually really even rekindle the civilization, which is now called Africa, and reestablish it as something that can be really great in the world. It's not looked down upon as a failure, so to speak, but as a place where we not only civilization was born, but civilization can also still continue under a new dispensation, a more righteous and just dispensation. I think it's doable. And when by Africa, I just don't mean the continent. I mean the African world, globally, the world of us. Thanks.
Yeah. In closing, I just wanted to reiterate and just add a comment from Facebook when we were speaking about the sacred knowledge in terms of what we spoke about. Tehuti Sekhet said knowledge, wisdom, empathy, and energy. You know, I think it's just to reiterate what we were saying about what is the secret power within ourselves. You know, with that being said, I just want to throw Anita in there. When we do the hair session, can she just quickly demonstrate for us the preparation method here at Seaweed? Just in ask.
I would have to buy it first, and then I would, unless if I can try buy it and then do a video, like a tutorial video, and then send it to you. Maybe that would work.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, good work.
That.
I'd really appreciate that. So do check our socials at Ikhambi Natural Healing, both on all 3 platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This video is already available on our Facebook page. We streamed it live, and we will be uploading it on our YouTube page. Please do like, share, and we can't be having these conversations in isolation. We can only, you sharing, you would may have just helped one more person, you know, one person at a time. So please do like and share our videos. So that we can all grow together as a community. And who knows, maybe you might just reach somebody who has something more to contribute and say, hey, you know, I've also done this research and this is what's going on, you know, and they may add to the knowledge that we currently have. Also, with that being said, do join us next time. Check out our socials just to see the posters. We should be going live in the next 2 weeks again, unless there's a special edition sometime midweek. We would normally post that unless there's a special edition, but another session should be in the next 2 weeks. With that being said, thank you, Nita, for holding space with us. Love and light, beloveds.